Engine oil filter change. We all know that you need to change your car's engine oil on a regular basis. That's because over time it breaks down as a result of temperature and just general mechanical wear and tear. But it also picks up combustion byproducts and little bits of debris. So your car has also got an engine oil filter. That filters out these little contaminants as the oil circles around the engine. But the filter will clog up as well. So as well as changing the oil, you also need to change the filter. This is a straightforward job that you can do yourself, and this video will show you how. First of all though, you need to start the engine. Keep it going long enough to get up to its normal operating temperature. This will thin out the old oil, any sludge that it's got in it, and it will make it flow more freely. This is one of the few jobs you can do in your car when the engine is warm, so watch out for any burning hazards and take special care, especially when you're working underneath.
Draining the old oil. Once the engine's warm, switch it off, open the bonnet, chock the rear wheels, raise the front of the car and then support it on jack stands. Now remove the oil filler cap. Before removing the drain plug, clean the area around it, otherwise you risk reintroducing muck and contaminants back into your clean oil. Unscrew it. Now you need to get underneath to position a drain pan underneath the plug in the bottom of the engine oil pan. Make sure the pan can hold all the oil in the engine and be very careful not to touch any hot exhaust components while you're under there. We recommend wearing protective gloves while you do this, as this can be a messy job. Now loosen the drain plug, hold it against the threads as you unscrew it, then pull it away from the drain hole suddenly. This will get your arm out of the way of the hot oil, as well as reducing the chances of dropping the drain plug into the drain pan, which is easily done when your hand is suddenly drenched in hot oil. Let all the old oil drain into the pan. While it's draining, wipe off the drain plug with a clean rag. If you don't do this, any small metal particles clinging to the plug will immediately contaminate the new oil. Fit a new sealing washer to the drain plug and then clean the area around the drain plug opening on the engine block. Now reinstall the plug and tighten it to the specified torque setting in your vehicle's maintenance manual if it's supplied. Replacing the oil filter. Once the oil is drained, you can set about replacing the old oil filter, so move the drain pan into position under the filter. You can loosen the oil filter by turning it anti-clockwise, and for this you will need an oil filter wrench. Any standard filter wrench will do the job. Once the filter is loose, use your hands to unscrew it from the engine block. Just as the filter is detached from the block, keep it level to prevent the oil inside the filter from spilling out until you empty it out into the drain pan. Now, using a clean rag, wipe off the filter mounting surface on the engine block. Also, make sure that none of the old filter's gasket remains stuck to the mounting surface. You can get it off with a scraper if needs be. At this point, it's a good idea to compare the old filter with the new one to make extra sure they are exactly the same type. Smear some engine oil onto the rubber gasket of the new filter to make a better seal, then screw it into place. Over-tightening the filter will damage the gasket, so don't use a filter wrench this time. Instead, just tighten the filter by hand only. Now you can remove all your tools and materials from underneath the car, being careful not to spill the oil in the drain pan, and then lower the car back down. Refilling with new oil. Add new oil of the specified type to the engine through the oil filler neck and use a funnel to prevent oil from spilling onto the top of the engine. You need to check your owner's manual to find out how much oil to add. Don't overfill it, this does more harm than good. You can check the oil level by wiping all of the oil away from the end of the dipstick with a clean rag or paper towel. Then insert the clean dipstick all the way back into the tube until the cap seats completely, then pull it out again. The dipstick will have minimum and maximum markings, and you need to make sure the oil level is at or near the upper maximum mark. When that's done, you can replace the dipstick, seating it firmly into its tube, and refit the oil filler cap so that it's hand tight. Now start the engine to allow the new oil to circulate and allow the engine to idle for about a minute. It'll take a few seconds for the oil pressure warning light to disappear as well. While the engine is running, look underneath the car and check for any leaks at the oil pan drain plug and around the oil filter. If either one is leaking, stop the engine and tighten the plug or filter until it's secure. Next, turn the engine off and wait for a few minutes, then recheck the level on the dipstick. Add oil as necessary to bring the level up to the maximum mark. Again, fully insert the dipstick and filler cap, tightening it securely by hand. During the first few trips after an oil change, make it a point to check frequently for leaks and proper oil levels. The old oil drained from the engine will be worn out and unusable in its present state and should be recycled. Oil reclamation centres, car repair shops and fuel stations will normally accept the oil for recycling, so wait until it's cooled, then pour it from the drain pan into a container, plastic jug, bottle, milk carton, etc., and take it to a disposal site.